Had to get back to work. Way to go, Zoom. Yeah.
He doesn't elaborate like you.
No? Well, good. He's got it figured out. I'm going to say yes and no the rest of the day today. Yes, no. Shoot, I'll be back at my desk in a few minutes.
Well, good, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah.
Hey, Ron. David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Now that you've had the 4 games to look, and a couple were unusual how they unfolded based on what you did, but what are the 2 things, say, on offense that you want to kind of focus on and where you feel you need to get better as a group in this next phase?
Yeah, I would start with the running game. I think we came out of the New York game feeling better about the running game. I thought we had some really good combination blocks. That's a good front, obviously, in New York, and I think you saw our combination blocks. We got some displacement. We got movement at the point of attack. That was good. The backs all ran really, really hard. Rico had a couple nice runs. I thought Zeke had his best week of not just playing, but of his preparation. And you saw the discipline in him pressing the hole. So that would be the first one. And then again, I think our ability to finish drives in the end zone over the last couple of weeks has been something that is important. We've talked about having to figure out the red zone early in the season, and I think the last couple of weeks were 4 for 5 in that situation, and that covers up when you're not maybe doing some things well, when you can kind of get the ball in the end zone.
Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas. You know Mike as well as anyone. I know a lot of stuff is going on this week, but can you talk about him going back to Pittsburgh and how important this is for him?
Yeah, being the son of a dad that was from Pittsburgh, man, just the history of football in Pittsburgh. For Mike, you see family, you see friends. You go back, and I think sometimes it puts you at ease. You go back and you're around people that love you, and he's got a big family, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot of tickets for the game. He can afford it, which is a good thing. But again, I know, when I have family and friends around, or you're going back home, or you're going to a place that's familiar, it kind of puts you at ease, because you realize, and you almost think of, as you're catching up the day of the game, we play at night, obviously, you think about almost the journey, and how these people helped you get where you're going. And his mom and dad are just awesome people. His family's great. And so it'll be important for him. But we could play him anywhere. We could play him here, and each game's important. But it'd be great to go there and play well and find a way to get a win against a really good team.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. Can you talk about the I know you guys want more run attempts with your backs. How have the guys, with the attempts they've had, how have they done? How would you evaluate where you guys are?
Yeah, again, the efficiency's been up and down. Again, we point out to the fact that, again, in the first 3 games, we really didn't have a true full game. I think we came out of New York saying, okay, that's a real game. It was 4 quarters of good football, back and forth. It wasn't perfect. What I would say, Todd, is I think we are encouraged by the way that we ran the ball on Thursday night, short week, against what I think is a really good front, not just with Dexter Lawrence, but with Thibodeau and Burns and those guys, and the 2 backers are really good players. So, and I thought the guys had a really good week of practice. We were very intentional with the week. Even though we didn't do any banging, again, we were focused and really emphasizing the fits and the combinations of, again, imagine 2 guys having to work together to move a 340-pound nose tackle like Dexter Lawrence. If you get off on levels, it doesn't work. And so the fits are important. And again, we're young, and that's not an excuse. It's just we're young and we need those reps. And we understand to win in this league and consistently win, you got to have a running game. And so I think we do feel good coming out of that game, and that's the one game that we feel like is the best evaluator, just because it was a true 4-quarter football game.
John Machota with The Athletic. Through 4 games, it looked like that last one was Dak's best game, but just where do you see Dak after 4 games? Yeah,
I would agree with that. Loved what he did spreading the ball around. I love the completion percentage. I think he's finding his rhythm. I think the big thing we've always talked about was getting CD back and what that looks like. I think it was cool to see them connect on some plays. I thought the long touchdown was really a cool play because I'm sure he told you guys it happened faster than you normally think it's going to happen on that play. And CD kind of beat Banks. Banks kind of played him really aggressive, and CD beat him pretty clean. And Dak, sensed it, saw it because he moved the safety. But the throw was the thing that I thought was so beautiful because he got it up and down in a hurry before the safety could get over there. So I think that's all part of it. Again, but that's what we expect from Dak. It's that 70% completion percentage, spread the ball around, get everybody involved. But again, I will say I think he saw the game really, really well. Like I know when he comes over on the sidelines when we talk, it was one of those games that he just was on it and he knew, hey, this is what happened here. I saw that. I saw it the same way, and usually that's a good thing for us.
And then when you're on the sideline of that particular play and you see that CD is probably one of the only times he's going to get single coverage, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, you have a really good idea the ball's probably going over there, number one. But again, it was just cool because it happened right on our sideline. When you give him space, and he has the ball in space like he does, he's an unbelievable runner. I mean, you saw it on one of the toss schemes we gave him early in the game. We flipped him the ball, and just him with the ball is pretty special. But I thought CD played really physical, and I think teams that want to try to play physical and put hands on him, again, that was one of the cooler reps for him where he kind of pulled through a strong physical corner like Banks, and for him to finish that was not surprising, but had a pretty good idea the ball was going to go over there.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Guyton's got quite a few penalties. Is that more about him being a rookie, or is it something else going on?
No, I think he's doing some really good things, Calvin. He really is. Again, he's playing left tackle in the NFL. He's young. What we're really focusing on with him this week, and we've talked about it, and not just to him, all the young players. There's a fundamental emphasis that has to happen. I mean, he is so talented and he is so athletic, but he does get off balance at times. He oversets at times. And so for him, a young player that missed a lot of training camp, it's really that intentionality. We talked to the guys today about, when you go out to practice, you can't just go out there and without having a focus or an intentionality of, hey, I want to improve this. So, like for Tyler, it's his feet and his hand usage. And again, not just Tyler, but the penalties that we've had, most of them I would say are penalties. If the hand gets outside and you're grabbing a guy's jersey, I mean, they're going to call that. And so, I don't think that looking back at them, most of them I thought were legitimate calls. But how do you clean those up? It's got nothing to do with talent. It's got to do with his fundamentals and the intentionality at practice. I think he's got to understand that, shoot, you get a chance to go against good players in practice one-on-one and maximize those.
Sajid with The Athletic. Brian, Mike was talking about how time of possession is something that he's been looking at, and you guys want more third down conversions and stuff. How do you go about that in terms of, is there an adjustment on a play calling standpoint, or is it simply execution that needs to happen better?
Yeah, I think when we look at it, third down in the last game was something that got us. It got us a little bit in the first game, so that's a huge benefit to it. But then you have to dig deeper and say, why? What's going on third down? I think we were 0 for 3, I think, on 3rd and 11 plus against the Giants. Well, how do you get into 3rd and 11 plus? It's not that you just lose yards. There's penalties. There's things that we just talked about that put you in those situations. So when people talk third down, what they really need to talk a little bit more about is how you got to those third down D&Ds. Because if you're third down and 6 or less in this league, you're going to be pretty good. I think on average, you guys can check it, but 3rd and 11 plus in this league, I think the best in the league each year is going to be somewhere in the low 20s. Like, it's just, they're hard to convert for different reasons. You get all-out blitzes, or you get people that play prevent, and they make you throw the ball underneath. So I would say I felt like we've played behind the sticks a little bit at times. What's that mean? It means we've put ourselves in longer D&Ds on third down, or we haven't won first down to get us into second down and manageable. And all those things attribute to not having the opportunities to go and sustain drives. And, I felt in this last game, after the defense had a couple really long drives, that we had to go out and do our part, and we didn't do that good enough, because it's truly a complimentary thing where you want to go out, and if they have to play 13 or 14 plays of a drive, hey, we got to go string a drive together so they get what? They get a little bit of a break, and I thought we were inconsistent at doing that last game.
Your offensive line in general is pretty young. How do you see Zach Martin in terms of the way that he still, at this point in his career, comes in, the professionalism, and how he carries himself for all those other young guys, not just the rookies, but even the other young guys too?
Yeah, he's a stud. The guy is just, the ultimate competitor, unflappable, I guess I would say, great communicator. And the other guy that probably doesn't get enough credit is Terrence. Terrence Steele, he's played a lot of football and at a high level, and so I would say the right side is kind of our veteran side, and then you've got obviously Beebs at center, who's a rook, and Tyler Smith is still, crazy as it sounds, all-pro player, unbelievable player. He's still got a lot of room for improvement, from a fundamental standpoint. I mean, he is an absolute mauler, and once he tightens up some things with his footwork and aiming points and things like that, the guy's going to be, potentially one of the best to ever do it. I mean, and then, Guyton's going to be fine. I mean, when I was with the Jets, we drafted DeBrickshaw Ferguson, I think 4th overall, and for the first year, I mean, it was just growing pains and people saying this guy's a bust and he can't play and this and that, and no one's saying that about Tyler, but like, it's a hard position to play, and you're going to get their best every time, and sometimes they actually fight to get over there and rush against you. And the cool thing with Tyler is, he's not going to blink. I mean, he knows he's talented. He knows there's things he can clean up. We actually, we make a bunch of self-scout tapes that our guys try to find time to watch, where you literally can go and watch your set. So you're watching, imagine if you're Tyler Guyton, you're watching all of your sets, so you're seeing the same thing that the defensive guys are seeing. And it's amazing when you ask these guys to give you a report, they see it. Now, they don't always see it during the course of a game, and that's why we're on the sidelines making adjustments, but they get a chance when they study those to see some of the things that they're doing, and, oh, shoot, I see why these guys are attacking me this way.
Nick Harris, forward Star Telegram. I know overall, when you look at the second halves of games, offensive reps have just been down with the way the games have gone. But when you look at CD's case specifically, just 3 receptions for 16 yards in second halves of games this year, what's the biggest attribution to that?
Again, you got to look at each game's a little different, Nick. I think, there's not one thing that I would point to. They certainly are going to pay attention to him. I know one of the last third downs in the game against the Giants, they ran and they doubled him. That's going to happen. CD's good enough to beat doubles, we know that, but there's a couple of times that Dak got moved off the spot and had to kind of, go elsewhere with the ball. So it's different things, but, as you know, CD's, unbelievable player. We're going to get him the ball. When you get him the ball early in games, you're going to try to get him the ball late in games, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but he's a guy that, can help us put games away. I really felt like we should have been able to stay on the field, not have the defense go back out there against the Giants. That's what our job is in 4 minutes, and unfortunately we weren't able to do that.
You mentioned his physicality on that touchdown play with him against Banks. That added weight that he added over the offseason, how have you seen that translate?
Yeah, he's playing more physical, I would say, but just the strength to pull through that. I mean, it was a quick jam. The guy kind of tried to get him with his outside arm, and just the strength to pull himself through. And what happens is, the corners tend to panic because, they feel it and they know they're using it for their advantage. Why do you quick jam? To try to catch a guy by surprise. But I think that strength and power to pull through and create the separation, and really the best thing he did was he stacked the guy. So, like, if he would have just stayed outside, then the guy might have been able to come back and knock it down with his inside arm. But if you watch him, he pulls himself through, and then he knows to, again, lean and get in front of him, which is why the throw was perfect because of the timing of it. So I'd say it's definitely helping him. I think he's playing more physical overall in these first 4 games.
Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas. 2 of the 3 holdings Tyler Guyton had came on Kayvon Thibodeau rip moves. I know NFL rules allow like a certain level of holding. It's kind of a gray area with rip moves. How fine of a line is that for an offensive lineman to accurately do that when someone throws a rip move?
Yeah, again, I think what I would say is, we never want to put it in the official's hands. There is a technique of how if you set out and you kind of get beat inside, how you replace your feet, and that's a big part of it. And the great thing with Tyler is he's got the length to do it, and so a lot of it is using your length, those 35, 34, 36 arms that he's got to kind of, wash the guy down, where he's missed some with his hands. And so it's more of just training the hands and the consistency of the hands and using the hands and things like that. But again, if you get your hands on the inside and the guy kind of starts to tug or pull, I mean, since they've moved the official back, the umpire, but you got eyes everywhere in the backfield, and so those guys have to play cleaner with better hands.
Yeah, how much of an emphasis then, if it's the same thing happened twice, how much of an emphasis
Yeah.
the week after is that?
Big time, because we know they're studying that, and they're saying, okay, hey, does this guy struggle versus the inside move? We have to correct that, because if you don't, guess what? It's going to show up the next week. I mean, the cool thing about this league is there's so much video. I mean, shoot. Everything is cut up. I mean, and now with PFF, you can pull up all these different things. And so that's why I think, again, I'm going to mention the self-scout tapes again. These guys, they have to look at those things. They have to see what their opponents are studying. It's not enough to just study Thibodeau. What is Thibodeau looking at against you? This week, Terrence Steele. What's, Watt looking at with you? I mean, the corners are no different. It's not just the skill guys that have to watch tape of themselves and the opponent. It's really everybody.
Finish with Dave.
Babe Loffenberg, 105.3 The Fan. Hunter Lipke appears to be a guy, whatever you give him, he does it pretty well, and you guys are kind of giving him more, giving a fourth down run. But did I see an option route by Hunter on the play?
I mean, you're going to ask me to just, what would Zim say? Maybe. No, yeah. I mean, yes, we have a ton of confidence in Hunter. We've put some of the third down stuff in there with him. We ended up going fast on the one run that he got. But, yeah, I mean, this guy is just a confident football player. He can do so many cool things. Again, and it's what you saw, honestly, it's what you saw of him coming out of college. You saw him play one back by himself. You saw him play tight end. You saw him play fullback. You saw him play special teams. And I think that was the most plays he's played this year. But Dak has gone to him in some tough third down situations, some really tough window throws, some of those tight windows. And, Hunter has made a ton of plays. The boot to the left the first week, was unbelievable against the Ravens. And then there was a third down and mid-range third down where he stuck it on him. He actually took a hit. Dak took a hit. I can't remember Burns or one of them got him, but stuck it into a tight window. So Hunter's a guy that we just see continue to ascend, and there's nothing that really we don't feel that there's really a lot that he can't do, and we're still scratching the surface of how he's going to help us win a lot of games.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Coach.